We can't hear you. You're on mute.
If you look into my life, see what I see. Oh, you will see I'm so. If you look through my life, see what I see. I know what to do or to say. If you look through my life, see what I see. If you look into my life, if you look through my life, see what I see.
Now you know we're gonna get dinged for all of this, Mary, right?
No, we're not, because it's not in the stream.
Okay.
It's not in the stream.
Okay.
Not in the stream.
Good job then.
Have you looked at my life and see what I seen? La da 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 da. Let me turn it down so I can go to the show so I can see all the comments. Because all the comments don't come in StreamYard as they do on the show. It's just a fact. All right, there we go. What's going on, D?
What's going on, sir?
Oh,
How
chilling.
you doing? You switched it up on us.
Hey, Free. Long time no see.
Hey, free.
Thank you. Yeah, I switched up the glasses a little bit. These the ones I need to have on. My other ones are in Colorado. Those are my blockers from all the hate. La, 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 la. Down and out every day. Don't know what to do or say. I was trying to catch Mary on the tour.
She
I
been
ain't gonna be
on
able
one
to
too.
catch
She
you.
has
Man,
been on the tour.
I wanted to be. I wanted to do my Mary and Lil Kim dance.
You said it.
I want to do my Mary Lil Kim. Peace to the developer and tech gods. They out here somewhere.
It's on our agenda for today. We weren't here last week.
I don't know what's on our agenda today, Dan. I don't have one.
You know, that means it's trouble. There is no agenda, and I did not receive an agenda or a list of
You
topics
did. I sent you
in
some
my inbox. There's going to be trouble.
Q4. What's going on? You got a Birdman hands.
And in the back of my mind, I'm hearing that song that everybody's been playing, where it does the squeaky noise. They go, "Dun, dun, dun." Yes,
What it is? What's up? Can a player get
yeah,
rub
that's
it
in
up
my
like
brain.
he ain't been? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So give you my number and I call and I in the mall. Show enough. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Them 112 times. Am I gonna start a software company? I don't know about that. That's how I start up.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, but it's not the same like when it first came out and you heard it and it was like,
His name, the guy that sings on that song is called Cuddy Cartel, and he is no longer with us. Cuddy has passed on. I think Cuddy died about 2 or 3 years ago. Cuddy Cartel. Well, Cuddy. His real name is Ricardo Lewis. Ricardo. Hey, Ricardo. This is the guy right here. This guy who sings on that song. Oh, Ricardo. He was nice whenever I saw him. I won't say bad things about him because he's passed on. Yeah, 2019, 3 years ago. Old Cuddy. He used to be bigger than that. Then he lost weight. When he first came out, Cuddy was a butter ball. He was a butter ball. And then over time, I guess them hip hop tours and clubs and traveling and going places, he dropped his little weight on him. Cause he came back out. You would see him out in Atlanta. He was all trimmed up. He would have his beard and stuff. I was like, oh, you now you look like something. That was good.
It's so southern.
You look
That
like
is so
something.
southern. Now you look like something. Look at you.
You look like you belong to somebody. You're looking like you belong to somebody.
That's so terrible.
You look
Terrible.
like something. Do something with yourself. You're around here looking like nothing. Do something with yourself. Look like something. Look like you belong to
My
somebody.
grandmother used to say, what she said, you look so pretty. You look just like a clown. Like, you are the worst. Or you be like, or she been in that bathroom for 20 minutes and came out looking exactly the same.
Talking about that's the hood national anthem. What's up, Mama? Do how you doing? I don't know if it's the hood national anthem. It was.
I mean, the hood has anthems.
We do.
The
I
hood
mean,
has anthems.
we can go back. Attention. Doom, 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 doom.
Has anthems.
Oh,
I was
the
driving the other day and
club.
I got five on it came on and people was looking at me like, what is this lady singing?
As I walked in the club,
Because I was
open my
floating.
trunk. I told him, I ain't never scared. What? I ain't never scared. What? Atlanta Classics. Nuck if you buck, boy. Nuck if you buck, boy. Nuck if you buck, boy. Then
It's
you got to
crazy.
then you gotta
Safari has a lag for some
then
reason.
you gotta go through the other Atlanta Classic. The only guy that walk around Atlanta with a belt, with a belt.
Troy,
Pastor Troy.
I remember he used to try to get in the club I worked at. And he'd be at the door and he'd be just wanting to get in. And they was not fooling with him. And then I was like, they gonna have to pay for you one day. And he was like, thanks, Miss Lady. Sure enough, they had to pay for him. Like, just never have a clue. He had him a hit.
And he from Augusta, right?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think he a PK kid too.
But carrying around that belt all day, he got to be from somewhere.
I think he a PK kid too.
I can see it.
Yeah, he a PK kid. You talking about somebody that wake up every day and read their Bible? He wake up every day, he read his Bible. That's why all his stuff he got scriptures and quotes in there. I think he even studied. 1977 producer, the Down South Georgia Boys. 44. Mackay LaVar Troy was born in November the 18th, 1977 in College Park, Georgia.
Oh, that ain't Atlanta. Where he from Atlanta?
His father, Alfred Troy, is a former drill instructor turned pastor. He went to Creekside and attended Payne College in Augusta. I knew there was an Augusta connection. Yep. We ready. We ready. Oh no, do that. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready to start the show? You think they're ready? I don't know if they're ready then.
If you're not ready, you got to get ready. Well, if you're ready, go ahead and make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to our channel. We appreciate you being here for another Saturday. We weren't here last Saturday. I got an impromptu break. Let's take a shot.
Big clown.
You need a nap.
I remember this when Atlanta was crunk. Everybody was down south versus New York, down south versus what's his name, Master P. Everybody wanna throw bowls in the club. We throwing chairs in the club. We throwing bottles in the club.
Y'all was throwing everything.
Everything.
That's what, when I was in college, I was a bartender in College Park. And when I tell you, it used to be mayhem. When I tell you mayhem, even with the east side and the west side.
East side
don't get the east side, west side chant
East
going
side,
on.
west side, it's on and popping. East side
I
don't
politely
like
just go on and duck down. I mean, one night it was so crazy that I was in there. I was at the service bar. And it was a busy night. Boy, a fight happened. A champagne bucket blew past me and hit the glass. The mirror on the wall. I was like, oh my God. People were still buying drinks. I was stuffing money everywhere. This is crazy. This is bananas.
Oh yeah, it wasn't nothing to be walk in the club and somebody just be walking through and just throwing racks in there. You were like, let me grab those. Oh, these are $10 bills he done threw. Let me grab that. Oh, let me grab this. Let me grab that. It's on the pot.
But the energy used to be so fun to be young. Because now I'm like, oh, that's to be people. I don't even want to walk over there. But the bar is that safe space where are the safe space. You're behind the bar. But boy,
it's on the popping. I'm trying to tell you.
Craziness.
Ain't no more playing, GA.
Yeah.
Ain't no more playing. What's up, big mouth, big clown?
When I moved back to California, I was like, look, I already did crunk. I'm not doing crunk. Like, I've made it through already. Like, no. I'm done. Then I moved to California and they was going dumb and getting hyphy. I was like, I am exhausted. It's too much.
Why you can't get hyphy? Why you can't get hyphy?
That was too much. I miss hyphy. I was too old for hyphy. In my humble opinion. After living through Atlanta, you crazy kids.
Oh, D. I don't know what to tell you. All right, let's get cracking. It's gray in Georgia today. Oh, man.
Not in Florida.
It's sunny out here.
Oh, I do not drink that.
What is D drinking? Hennessy and Coke?
Hennessy is not my friend.
No, D don't mix her drinks. She drink her drinks straight up. She's a thug.
I'm an adult.
D is a thug.
Stop telling my business. Don't tell my business.
D drink it straight up. D was like, give it to me out of the bottle. Don't mix nothing.
If I'm going to drink a cognac, it will not be Hennessy.
D is like, don't give me nothing mixed. I want my drinks straight up, no ice.
I'm a purveyor of fine spirits, and they shall not be.
You're who of fine spirits?
Purveyor.
Then you gonna make me go back to it.
And I sip. Spirits are for sipping.
Spirits are for sipping.
But I do mix my Prosecco and Tito's. French sparkler all day. But they both come directly from the bottle.
Yeah,
I
she
think
like
we
them
talked about
strong. She
that
like
in
them
the last
strong.
show.
She like them strong. She do like them strong. What's
Like you
going on?
said.
Kiss my face twice. That's your name. I forgot. Some kisses. All right, cool. All right, so first show we talked about a lot of things, right? Finances, broke, not being broke, what you're gonna leave behind, this, that, and another. This show more of a technical show. Um, but I did want to bring this up. So, Know Before was purchased by Vista Equity Partners. I don't know if you all are familiar with Know Before. Know Before is based out of Tampa, up in Clearwater area, right in the Scientology area. A security company that was purchased that by Vista Equity. And they were purchased, I think, for 34. Let me see. They went public and then they went back private. They IPO'd and they went back private. They were purchased here recently by Vista Equity Partners for 4.6 billion. They went public and they came back private, and they got purchased on this is probably before October 12th, but they got purchased for 4.6 billion by Vista Equity Partners. Um, Not sure if you're familiar with who Vista Equity Partners is. So I went ahead and pulled up who Vista Equity Partners is, so you know this actually happened. I don't know if y'all caught the Yahoo All Market Summit. I watched a couple of episodes of it. I have not finished watching all those, but I did pull some things that I thought were important for us to look at and dissect, so you can understand where markets are going, where the trends are going, where the jobs are at, where your tech skills need to be at, what you need to be looking at. And for some of y'all, your tech skills are going to turn into acquisition skills. So how you start looking at buying companies, how you take your skills that you have, say in tech, and then learn how to apply them to maybe working for a company or maybe a group of people, or maybe you start your own or whatnot. This is going to be a show about money, skills, ownership, where jobs are going, where jobs are at, what I see. So go along for the ride. All right, let's get started with Vista Equity Partners and the CEO talking. You should know who that is. If you don't, now you're about to learn out. You're about to learn who it is. Hold on, let me start it over, and let me turn up their volume on there, and then let me turn up my volume because it may be low. That's up. All right, so now let's get going.
Biggest enterprise software conglomerates in the world, and it's in private hands. Vista Equity Partners has more than $94 billion in assets under management, with a current portfolio of 85 companies, and it's still growing, recently striking a deal to buy cybersecurity firm Know Before for $4.6 billion. Joining us now is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Vista Equity Partners, Robert Smith. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Julie.
It's great to have you here.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, in person.
Yeah.
So obviously you have a big reach of your portfolio companies, all of those companies that I mentioned. So you have a lot of insight into corporate spending on technology right now because they are business to business largely. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing right now? What are you hearing from your companies, from your clients? And does it feel like from where you sit that we are on the cusp of a recession?
Yeah, great set of questions. I think importantly, enterprise software still is viewed as the most productive tool introduced in the business economy the last 50 years, like it will be for the next 50. So, in an environment where there's wage inflation, a lack of development.
Okay, so did you hear what he just said? Did y'all peep what he just said? Right, let's back up. That's so few.
most productive tool introduced in the business economy last 50 years, like it will be for the next 50. So,
all right, he's saying 50 years. I'm just trying to get your skills for 10 to 20 so you can retire. He's talking about 50 years, right? So again, when we talk about skill set, I'm telling you to expand your mind and stop looking at yourself for what it is that you do right now. Look at your skill set and look at the different levels in which your skill sets can take you when we're talking about this, right? So let's keep going.
In an environment where there's wage inflation, a lack of developer talent, challenges related to cyber attacks, companies are actually increasing, in many cases, their spending in enterprise software. Now, overall, again, we're about $24 billion in revenues across our entire platform, which, think about us maybe fourth, fifth largest enterprise software company in the world. And we have over, I think, 350 million users of our software. When we're looking at what the spending dynamics have been over the last year, over 25% kind of bookings growth, we're seeing kind of 20 to 25 now. So we're seeing some slowdown in certain sectors and frankly, acceleration in others, things like low code, no code environments, things for productivity,
Okay, I talked about this low code, no code. I talked about AI, 500K earners. If you're not looking at that video, I'm trying to show you where the market is going. I'm trying to tell you, you see where and I talked about low code, no code 2 years ago. So this is not new, right? But this ain't new, right? But again, let's talk about where your skill sets are at. And then the products that are being built around that, the companies that are being built around that, and how people use those things that are being built around that. Gotta pay attention. You got to pay attention, right? You gotta pay attention. Let's get back to it.
Things for anything around, cybersecurity to protect the enterprise. Those are the sorts of dynamics that we're seeing. So am I seeing a broad slowdown across our platform? No. Are we seeing some pockets where we actually see it? Yes. Typically, those will be in any of the B2B2C, any of those consumer-oriented businesses. You'll see a little more slowdown. You're not seeing people buying as much in the future as they used to, which you saw in some of the Apple and some of their numbers, et cetera, where some of the companies that we focus on really, this mission critical, a business critical enterprise software continues to be in demand and robust demand for the most part.
All right, so I'm gonna pause right there. I see your comment, Q4. You need for me to start a software company. He said 350,000 users per seat software. How much per seat? So this gets into that conversation we had Wednesday night, right? We see, and let me get out of here, and I'm gonna come back to this video. We see the things happening around us, right? Let me see if I can find my link here. I know I have it in here. If not, I could just pull it up. I thought I had it on here. Hold on. Oh, it's right there at the top. All right. We're going to get back to him. Hold on. Hold your horses. All right. We're going to get back to him. All right. So we see Oracle is doing layoffs, right? And so I pulled this from LinkedIn. And it's showing that, hey, unfortunately, on Monday, I was told my role at Oracle has been eliminated in the latest rounds of layoffs. I'm thoroughly enjoyed my time at Oracle, and I'm grateful for people that I came in contact with. He's in tech sales. Unfortunately, I've been laid off too. Open a network, HR careers, tech sales. They hit their cloud industry as well too. Just another. But what people don't know about Larry, who's very business savvy, Larry has partnerships with Microsoft, right? And this came out years ago. Oracle and Microsoft Strategic Partnership (FAQ). They partner with multi-cloud and OCI and Azure, right? They have a partnership, and you can go read this partnership, right? There's a PDF of it, right? So 2019, right? So let's go over here. Oracle partnership with AWS. How did this happen? You're asking. You know how this happened? $10 billion government contract won by Microsoft. Microsoft had won one, and so did Amazon. Amazon protested against it, right? Amazon protested against it. Now they just won this $10 billion one. There's another one. We're gonna get into some contract talk tonight because I don't think y'all be listening to what I'm saying, right? We're gonna get some contracts tonight. But why I'm mentioning this? Because Larry said I can't beat them, but I damn sure can join them, right? So I'm gonna partner with Amazon and I'm gonna partner with Microsoft, and whoever wins, I'm still winning. Whoever don't win, I'm still winning because you may not win that contract, but you got future contracts you're gonna win. So I'm setting us up to win either way. And then not only that, Oracle has their cloud solution. So if push come to shove, buy me out. You big talk, you big mouth, you big clown. Uh-huh. Buy me out. You know, buy me out. You ain't got to keep paying me. Buy me out. Right? So what are we learning here? I hope you're learning about positioning. I hope you're also learning about pitching. I hope you're learning about leveraging. I hope you're learning about creating a need or fulfilling a need when you don't even know there's a need, right? I hope you're learning that, right? Just from this, right? So let's get back to it. That's I just wanted to show you. Keep these things in mind when you're looking at these videos. What leverage is he using? Where's the need at? And so forth. Do you got something? Oh, okay. All right. Co-relationships. Yeah. Right. All right. Let's get back to it.
Is there a point you see in the future? Is there a point typically in these kinds of cycles where you do start to see that pullback? I mean, to be fair, when we were in the financial crisis in that recession, the enterprise software industry was not as developed as it is now. So I'm not sure we have a perfect analog. But what are you expecting to see?
Great analysis. So if you look at 2014, 2018, coming out of that, great financial crisis, you actually, there's about 10, 12% of the companies were in what we call a native cloud environment. Today, it's closer to 35%. As a result of that.
All right, I got to stop him because these talking points, you keep hitting them. I keep bringing them to you. You keep missing them, right? Cloud native, right? Get my thing charged up here before we die too. So cloud native, right? I talked about this before. Cloud native roadmap. There's a cloud native roadmap and there's the landscape. So you can go to CNCF, but you got to understand what it means to be cloud native, right? You got to understand what it means to be cloud native. Let's go look at the roadmap. It won't let me blow it up. There's a website for it. Let me see if I can go to the website. Cloud Native Trail. Let me go to it. Yeah, I can blow this up some. This will work. Whatever. All right. I preach about your 4 or 5 main things you need to have skill wise. All you got to do is look at this, right? Containerization, CI/CD. Those that come meet on Wednesdays, have we not started going down containers? Have we started looking at containers? Right? Container registries, CI/CD, orchestration, right? That's where your Kubernetes come in. Observability, that's where your working with Gremlin comes in. And even Honeycomb, service mesh, right? Like how do we discover services that come online and so forth? Networking, never going anywhere. right? Distributed database, never going anywhere. Messaging, never going anywhere. Container runtime and software distribution, right? Now, I'm showing you this because you could fall in one of these 10 categories. You could be an expert at containers. You could be an expert at understanding CI/CD and how to explain it and create classes around it. You could be an expert at Kubernetes. You could be an expert at observability. You could be an expert at service mesh. You could be an expert at distributed databases. You could be an expert at networking. You could be an expert at messaging and understanding how messaging works, active MQ, and so forth. You could be you can understand software distribution. You could be an expert at container runtime, right? But you fall into any of these categories. You can learn all 10 and do a deep dive. Again, T-shape. I talked about that, right? So he just mentioned that one thing and I took it, and now we on 10 different topics, right? We're on 10 different topics, right? So keep those things in mind, right? So let's get back to the video.
These companies grow faster, the productivity tools that they're delivering can be delivered more effectively, more efficiently, and so the utilization rates of them has actually been enhanced. The other thing that's actually quite interesting is the productivity dynamic. As you know, in the US today, we've actually decided to effectively close our borders. And I like to say, the most scarce commodity on the planet isn't oil or lithium or cobalt. It's actually software programmers. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. There's only 29 million of us who write code.
All right, I'm glad he brought that up. Right. Let me go to my other talking point that we're gonna actually have to dive into. Let me pull this up. Let's see, right here. Told you today we're getting deep. Today we're getting deep. All right. The great people shortage is coming, and it's going to cause global economic chaos. This article is on Business Insider. Right? Came out October the 20th. Today is the 29th. I was supposed to talk about it last week. We didn't get a chance to. So here we are. Right? But it matches perfectly with this video. Right? The world has seen a population boom over the past few decades. The globe's 4 billionth person was born in 1975, and now it's about a month. In about a month, the 8th billion person will probably be born. This population boom has been cited by experts as an unprecedented challenge to ecological balance of our planet. When 50 Nobel laureates were asked in 2017 what's the greatest threat to humanity, more than a third of them named the overpopulation of the planet. And there's no doubt that slowing population growth is an important tool to combat the climate crisis, right? But what those Nobel laureates overlooked is the fact that the forces leading to a population drop are already in motion. In fact, 40 years or so, the population will begin to decline. It will not be a virus, a war, or a natural disaster that will cause this population decline. Instead, it will be increase in living standards. We see that. It's happening before your eyes. Your $15 an hour means nothing. Right? It's cute, but it's not sustainable. Right? Instead, it would be an increase in living standards. Progress in living standards since the birth of the Industrial Revolution has accompanied not only by rising life expectancy, but by falling birth rates. Right? They already said people not getting married anymore. They're not having kids.
No.
People are healthier, richer, better educated, living longer, and having fewer children. As a result, the number of children born in rich countries like the US, in Europe, and in China is not sufficient anymore to keep those populations stable. And let's not mention we kill each other or delete each other, I should say. Let's not mention that. Right? So we're at a crossroads. We don't have enough people with skills, and we now have enough people reproducing, and then we're not protecting the planet. What do we do? Should we be finding somebody to love? I often ask the question, how many kids are in adoption? What's going on with them? How many kids are homeless? Where they at? Where they mommy and daddy at? Where they family at? What's going on?
Yeah, because I was asking a friend, she was looking out of the country to adopt. And I was like, why? She's like, because it's so expensive here. And I was like, she was like, yes, it's very expensive. I was like, so you just gonna roll the dice, huh? And if for me, if you're almost 50, you might as well go get a kid that's gonna be the age that you're supposed to have at this age. Like, go get you a 10-year-old. Go get you a 10-year-old.
Why you can't get a baby, D? Why this person can't go get a 2-month-old?
50-year-olds is grandparents.
Yeah, 35-year-olds are grandparents.
Touche. However, go get your 10-year-old. There's so much love out there to get.
Let's keep going. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna sit that there.
Let it marinate.
Yeah. As a result,
let it sizzle in your spirit.
And let it sizzle in your spirit for a minute. As a result, the number of children born in rich countries like the U.S., blah, 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 is not sufficient. Okay. But this decrease in humanity is not a reason to cheer, but rather a looming disaster for our economy. The great labor shortage caused by the declining population will cripple our global economy unless we find innovative ways to keep things running. The population is going to shrink. The economic and demographic forces that will lead to global population drop by the end of the 21st century have been at work in major economies for a very long time. After year, the birth rates of the more rich and middle income countries fall below critical replacement, the level at which people have enough children to maintain current population levels. A society needs 2.1 children per woman for the population to sustain itself, right? To remain stable. So all you single women out here with no kids like me, shame on you.
And me.
You don't have 2.1 kids. I don't know what 2.1 is. I don't know what 2.1 kids is. I thought it was either 2 or 3. I don't know how you have a 0.1 child. I don't know. Shame on you. You don't have.
Shame on you.
You don't have no kids. Shame on you.
I'm just gonna borrow them from the women that have a lot.
No, you can't borrow. You gotta have your own.
I mean, but if you got a homegirl that got 5,
no, it
you
don't.
You can borrow 2.1 kids.
No, it don't work like that. That still does not sustain the population. You trying to
let me borrow 2.1?
Exactly. No. You need to have on out of your loins and stains. Out of your baba.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Look, out of yo.
No, ma'am.
You gotta have one out of yo.
No, ma'am.
You know what that is.
I know what that is. Won't be coming out of there.
Out of yo, you gotta have 2.
No, ma'am.
You got time?
No, ma'am.
Funny how time flies when you're having fun. You gotta have 2. You can sing that one to the kids. You can like, I don't know where it all went. Time passed us by.
That's why you just go adopt a 10-year-old.
You okay, but that still does not help. That you keep trying to do everything but what you are designed and what you're meant to do.
You first.
Let the
You
great
first.
ovary and the great sperm collide.
You first.
I don't have a problem with that.
You first.
Now, what this article so far has not stated is them kids need a daddy. Them kids need a daddy. A responsible daddy.
Takes two.
Geek surgeon, we don't worry about you. Funny how time flies when you're having fun. When you're having fun. That's what we're doing. You gotta have two, Dion, two. All right.
2.1.
2.1. So that means 3.
You first.
In the US, the current rate is 1.6 children per child. I don't know what 1.6 is. And it's even lower in most European countries as well as Japan, 1.3, China 1.2, and South Korea 0.8. We ain't gonna have no more South Koreans then.
Because I don't know how you have 0.8 of a child.
They
Like, wait, how are you doing that?
Right. Soon almost every country in the world will fall below this breaking point. And so they got this here is China, and here's the breaking point, the 2.1. This right here is Japan. Right here. Japan, China, and Germany is in trouble. The US is right here. The US is right here. And they got this, they got it right here. Like we had a peak right here in the 90s. The 90s, we were doing things in the 90s. We was doing something. And then we just fell off. And then China was up here. Had all the peoples. And then they clapped down and
it was like, yeah, there's no more room at the end. There's no more room.
All right. It says research has shown that across countries and regions, as living standards improve, the number of children per family starts to decline. The reasons are varied. More economic opportunity for women, better access to education for children, lower infant mortality, but eventually what was once a poor young country becomes wealthier and must face the challenge of aging population that does not have enough young workers to support it. So here the US is going to look like they're going to win. They're going to beat everybody in 2100. But everybody like Europe, China, and Japan, no, their population is much older, right? Everybody is in trouble, right? So this goes back to that conversation that that we're having with Vista Equity, right? By looking at this, right? We got to understand that also who's going to keep creating, who's going to maintain these things that get created now, who's going to be innovative, how is technology now going to help in the future, how in the future are they going to help the future, right? What does that look like if we don't have enough skill sets, right? Again, skill sets, right? We got to be teaching these things, right? By the end of this century, the global population will have decreased by 1 billion people from its peak, according to a 2020 analysis by researchers at the Gates Foundation. And the most extreme scenario, the population would decline by almost 2 billion from where it is to just over 6 billion. We can also say Elon Musk is contributing. He's got 9 kids, so he's doing his job.
I can borrow 2.1 from him.
You cannot borrow nothing. You must have. Let's remove D from the stream. D, you must have children. Nick Cannon he doing his part. What'd you say?
I can borrow from Nick Cannon too.
Remove. We remove.
But then that no, because each of his women got about 2.5, right? Everybody get 2 babies at least with Nick. So I can't borrow none of his.
Because you need to have your own. Why are you trying to borrow? You're not increasing by borrowing. What do you think borrowing you're helping? You're not helping the situation. And then we gotta go look at the birth rates for Black people because that's even more of a decline. D, you got a baby daddy in the comment section. There we go. That's right. D, we can make some.
D is too old to be having babies.
D, y'all can adopt one.
You and just told me that is not contributing to the cause. You said I have to
have one. You do. D, get on it now. Geek Surgery, come by after dark. And
where's my mama right now?
Come by after dark.
Moving on. Back to the article.
No, we're discussing what Geek Surgeon is promoting here. He is promoting. Yes, that's right, Natasha. The baby shower. We are here. We are trying to get into having more children so we can, Dion, we got to save us. Sona's women to save. Here we go. Women save the day. Da-da-da-da-da. You see how she giving me up? Borrow some DNA. Let's get you signed up, D.
It's too much pressure.
It ain't too much pressure. It's not enough pressure till you have children. That's the pressure.
You first.
No, you can do like the girls in high school do. We just get pregnant at the same time.
Like, no. Are we gonna get pregnant at the same time? We gonna have a pregnancy pack?
Yeah.
I don't think this Golden Girl Acres, like the Golden Acres, I don't see us having small children at Golden Acres.
They're not gonna be at the Acres. They're gonna be with their daddy. Geek Surgeon said, "Come on, D. What's the problem?"
These eggs are powdered. And did you put the comment on the screen?
Come on, D. Let me stop before you go into a shell, because you'll be in there like. Let me stop before you roll up into a shell like a turtle. Like a crab. You'll be back in and just be a shell. Your gentleman caller awaits you. The Geek Surgeon says, "Come on, D."
Thanks.
I tried to, Geek Surgeon. I tried to. Save the world, D. All over the world, D. We're taking over the globe.
Natasha.
No, she cannot borrow done that. The moderator's time out done that. Time out. Put done that in time out. Time her out.
Ooh, y'all not gonna worry me. Y'all not gonna worry.
Casual condiments, yes. D eggs they're not up for sale. They're up for procreating and saving the world. For sale makes it sound like we're out here just trying to get D eggs all around the world. Right?
I am 47 years old. That is considered a geriatric pregnancy. That's
all you got to do is make sure you're healthy. You make sure you lay down and relax all your muscles, and just be taken care of. Geek Surgeon said it. He got you. Geek Surgeon, you paying all the bills? Yeah, you paying all the bills. Are you paying all the bills? Are you making this a stable home? We need to know. We got to ask that question first. Are you gonna make this a stable home? If you ain't gonna make this a stable home, we're gonna have to boot you out the comment section. Yep. Stable home, ready. Does she have to work? Or can she work part-time? Can she make some money on the side? No.
Check this out. So just a sidebar. So I have a friend that's going through the process, right? And they always say, like, when you're young, you can go and get some eggs and go freeze your eggs so you can have them just in case. But it's so much more to the process. They market it to sound really simple, but the drugs that you have to be on, it takes about a year to go through the process to even harvest some eggs, right? And then once you harvest these eggs after you take all these drugs, when they unfreeze them, the eggs might not even survive the process of the unfreezing. And then you might have to get the kids put in there multiple times. Like, they might not survive. Like, it's tragic. Like, I'd just rather have it the old-fashioned way if you're gonna do it. Like, if it was me.
It's more fun the old-fashioned way.
But yeah, it's that process, and just I'm like, the eggs got to survive the thaw. Like, the thaw, I'm like, oh no. It depends on what your health, your personal health look like. Like, what?
So your eggs have to thaw. So that means your eggs weren't never meant to be frozen in the first place. So that means they haven't really figured out the process. They know how to freeze them, but they don't know how to make sure the survival rate after the unthawing is 100%.
That's why they put you on, and that's why so many people that go through the process have multiples, because they might put multiples in there, and then it stressed me out thinking about it. Like, God.
So when you say they put multiples in, you mean they put multiples in at one time?
Multiple eggs, yes.
At one time?
They might put like 2, 3 eggs. It depends on how many eggs they harvested, right? And how many eggs, survived the thaw.
Like the geek surgeon said, the Lord has said, be fruitful and be many.
I understand.
So D, we got a potential father in the comments. I'm going with that. You gonna give 2.1 up before this world collapses. All right.
You first.
You keep talking about me first. Don't try to come. This ain't no competition.
I'm not saying it's a competition. I'm just saying you as well need to do your part.
I'm gonna do my part, but I don't need to go first.
Well, we got what's going on in the I ain't got nothing in the comments for Tam. Like,
no, we ain't got nothing in the comments for Tam. Don't worry about me. Worry about yourself. It's about you.
Well, why are you worried about me?
Worry because I'm your mama.
It's okay.
Because I'm your mama. That's why.
It's okay, friend. I got you.
Get you some designer babies. That's right. Natasha said she'll be the auntie. Come on over here, sweetie. And my mama can't wait till you have some. When are y'all gonna have some babies? And ladies like y'all need to have some babies. Yeah, I don't know why y'all like that.
My mother has no grandchildren. Me and all my siblings have 0.0 children.
You'll be a grandma done that. I don't know. We're gonna let the babies come over with you. I don't know. You still on the. I'm surprised you still in the comments. I don't know, done that. I don't know. Suspect. Well, let's get started, D. Let's get D started. What it is? What's up? Hey. Oh yeah.
Terrible you.
We chop it up. All right, let's get back to it. Says the German working population have declined by a third based on the average scenario from researchers, and in Italy, Spain, and Greece, it will have declined by more than half. Poland, Portugal, Romania, Japan, and China will all lose up to 2/3 of their labor force, according to projections. The looming population decline is a wake up call. Instead of the population boom that some have feared for decades, we will face a population drop, and it will have an enormous consequences on the world's prosperity. The labor shortage has already started. While a global population drop is good news for the planet, it will be a huge challenge for our economic and social systems. The most important fuel of economic growth in the past several centuries has been people. And with fewer people, less work can get done. We are already experiencing the beginning of this great labor shortage in the industries, ranging from airlines to daycares to military service. In the coming years, many more sectors and occupational fields will be affected. With fewer trained drivers, teachers, engineers, doctors, care workers, and programmers, many companies will produce or perform less. This is the hints of why you see the AI robots and robots are coming. And as the population drops, the amount of money being spent at these businesses will also shrink. Less consumption leads to fewer sales, and fewer sales lead to lower profits and thus less economic growth. Not only will the number of workers decline with the population, but how much each of these workers can produce will slip as well. The global per capita productivity, the formal measure of how much a worker can produce in an hour and the most important indicator of progress, has recently been stagnated. Now let's ask this question. How many people, let me just people in general, but this is really more aimed at women. How many women think that more robots will be put into places, into jobs where women do do primarily most of the work, and women would go back home in order to produce more kids? Think about it. Think about it. How many robots will be produced to do jobs that women do in order to have women go back home to produce more kids?
So, like, what type of jobs?
Any jobs that women do. Clerical work, executive assistants, no more female cheerleaders.
This is starting to get real handmade tellish.
Just asking questions. I mean, going back to South America is cool, but that doesn't. I mean, are you trying to produce more for South America, or are you trying to produce for America, like the U.S.? Because going to South America and you're not bringing them back, it's only going to produce more for South America. If they're not coming back to the United States to produce for the United States, it don't help the United States. Unless you're not dedicated to the United States and you're dedicated to South America. And I don't know where you're going from and to. So what?
Do I need to drop the link?
Drop the link. I can
I'm
see
gonna be
this
setting
happening.
myself up if I drop this link.
No, you're not setting yourself up. Drop the link. Let's see. I doubt if anybody come up, but let's see. It depends on the cost of living. If it continues to rise, I guess Indeed, another earner. ID need another. I'm not sure. Indeed, another earner. I'm just asking. Is it that? Is that where we're going? Is that where we're at? I'll continue to read. The combination of declining labor force and stagnating productivity is toxic. It could lead to a drop in economic output or the worst case scenario, decades of stagnant growth. Some 250 years after the Industrial Revolution, we have entered an era of status. Our growing economy has also allowed people to retire in their later years with a social safety net and younger relatives to take care of them. But we could soon see the reverse. The number of people that need to be taken care of before I see the number of people who can support them. And we already see that. In fact, we see that people are going into nursing homes at the age of 40 now. We see people are going in the nursing homes at the age of 40, not at the age of 70, not in their 60s, but at the age of 40. And we also see more people dying, in particular, black men. We see you dying around about 49 to 60, depending, right? Come on up, Alonzo. You see you back there.
I-
How you doing?
We don't know where you're looking. We're
He
just
got,
getting
he got
started.
his camera on to the side. Can you
Yeah,
hear us?
now I got the camera to the side of me.
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, cool. What you got?
Nothing. I just saw that you dropped the link and figured nobody would come up, so I wanted to come support. I'm sitting here giving y'all some watch hours, as opposed to hearing about some of the foolishness and faffery that's going on around. But y'all mentioned some of my favorite topic, which is unfortunately the lackluster performance of brothers like me who look like me. You know what I mean? Not me specifically, but I group us in as one.
Well, it's more or less like the declining population, and it didn't know how this sparked. I had watched this video from Vista Equity Partners with Robert Smith from Yahoo, and I was going to talk about this 2 weeks ago, but we took a break last week, so here we are. We're talking about it now. And I listened to this, and I had already been seeing the declining population, and also the declining population of the black population as well, too. Also, the declining population of children, right?
Mhm.
And then the next thing I also saw is and I say this all the time, and we've been seeing this for even before the pandemic. We saw that people lack skills, and when I say lack skills, we're talking about lacking skills of in for me, it's really around tech because I don't care how we look at it. The only way we really gonna survive as a black population is either got to be finance or tech and buying real estate at a minimum. That's just where I see things at for us to continue. Right? There are other things that contribute to this that we can talk about, but it's just where I see. So now we're at a point now where people are actually working 2 and 3 jobs and calling themselves overemployed, but they're not just 2 and 3 jobs of like, oh, I'm working a job that's paying me $45 an hour. They're working jobs that are paying them 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, and they're working 3 jobs. And some companies are saying, cool, that's fine. Some are
Mhm.
saying, no, it's not cool. So we talk about a labor shortage, but it's not even just a labor shortage, it's a skill shortage,
Mm-hmm.
right? What skills are you choosing to go get, right? Is there? And let's be honest, the skills are just not in tech, but they're also in nursing, they're also in dentistry, they're also in trades, they're
Mm-hmm.
also in so we're at a conundrum or a crux of saying, what are we going to do? What is going to be the thing? Is it going to be to the point, like I said before, where robots are going to take jobs that women have already been doing, for women to go back home to produce and then continue? But again, for a woman to go back home to produce and continue, that man has to have skills to support that cost of living in which we're living in at that particular time. And just right now, it's high. And so
Mm-hmm.
40,000 isn't going to cut it from man or woman. A woman
Mm-hmm.
making 40,000 is not going to cut it for her to raise a child. She's going to have to get some supplement, whether that is government supplement, whether she's go out and get a second job. It's just what it is. I know for a fact how hard it was to be a kid with a single mom on 40,000. And D and I have talked about this. You're limited as to what you can do. You're limited, not 40K a month, 40K a year. You're limited to what you can do, and you're limited to where you can go. You're limited to activities the kid can go to.
Right.
You're limited and really even the free stuff you're limited to, because now the parent has to have that concern, which as another added factor is my kid gonna come home the way I left my kid, right? Are you
Mm-hmm.
going to is someone going to harm my child, right? We're now at the point now where we're sending kids to school with bulletproof backpacks. and looking and in Colorado, we practice active shooters. I guess you could say
Protocol.
evacuation. Yeah. So when it's an active shooter, they're like, "What do you do? Pick
Mhm.
this up. Take this with you. Put this on your back. Run out the building. Do this. Go to this area. Have this phone. Have this type of phone. This is what you need to do. Go down these steps." So now we're talking about a whole nother thing, right? Added into just trying to increase the population and
Mhm.
just maintain it, right? We got all these other things, all these other factors that are going on. So the question is, where are we going in life? What are we doing? Not just from what his standpoint is, but then if you really go do a deep dive at the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation and what they're doing, you'll open up your eyes to a lot of things.
Because it's definitely some population control.
Yep.
You can even see the decline. Like, I was just doing some numbers here, and I always thought about it. Like, my dad is one of 7, right? And out of his 7 siblings, everybody had kids but my aunt. And I think my uncle maybe had a son in the military. We know he's there, but he's not like in our cousin group. We've never met him. So that's 7 kids, 7 grandkids. Now, out of the 7 grandkids, it's literally 8 great grandchildren.
Wow.
And like it's wild. Like, we're not increasing at all. At all.
Right.
And I can say
sorry.
some of my cousins got three kids. Like, one of my cousins has 3.
Mhm.
Like, we're like, no.
Yeah.
No. And for me, my mom has 3 kids.
Mhm.
She has 0 grandchildren.
Mm. Mine too. She has 1 biological child and 2 adopted children. I think also for our communities, we do have to look at the adoptive children, because that is very important, right? I adopted my brother and sister, and you can't tell them or me that they're not my brother and sister. Well, I didn't adopt them, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you
Right.
mean. Yeah. You brought them
So
into the fold.
you can't tell me that they are not my brother and sister, right? But yet none of us have kids, and we're all at about 40, right? So things in that manner do get a little dicey in terms of the birth rate, but I think what can make it easier, specifically for the Black community, and increasing the birth rate is, yes, men going to go get those skills, right? And for example, like, I work in finance, right? But like, if for all intents and purposes, you could say that I live the life of a Pookie, right? What do I mean when I say that? Well, I work on 100% commission. So with my job, when I go do my job, even when I make a sale, that doesn't mean I get paid, because the person gets declined. Now I've done 8 weeks worth of work and got $0, right? So, but if you're going to take those penitentiary chances, right? Because when I get a sale, I get big checks, right? So as opposed to, let's say, for example, we know the whole Young Thug and YSL, right? This is 28 men who got indicted for selling drugs and found with $1 million. If you do the math, 1 million divided by 28 happens to be $35,000 a head. These men could have all gotten jobs at McDonald's instead of taking lives, destroying the community, showing degradation, and taking penitentiary chances, right? But it's not as sexy to sit outside and sit outside of Chase Bank and everybody that passes by say, "Hey, you want to buy life insurance?" as it is to let everybody walk by the corner store and say, "Hey, I've got that work," and then feel like you're a salesman. I've never met anyone who has had to convince somebody to get a bag of white powder or a bag of green leaves. But when I sit down with a client, like I heard you, Tamika, mention it, putting $2,000 a month into Apple, right? To be honest, investors, as you know, and I'm not diminishing what you do, but I cut my teeth on Wall Street, right? My first office was 100 Broadway. I was a stockbroker at EJ Sterling, 39 Broadway, and my other office was at 11 Broadway. So when I talk about things, I talk about it from a dynamic position, because
Mhm.
I cut my teeth on Wall Street, right? So like a lot of people in the country, as New York goes, the rest of the country goes, right?
Mhm.
So like I'm not like your normal guy at Morgan Stanley who makes an income of 100 grand, right? Like I've got thousands of dollars sitting in the hopper right now, but I can't pay my
Mhm.
bills, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm waiting for these thousands of dollars. So
Right.
men have to be more willing to take those kind of chances as opposed to saying, hey, I'm gonna go out here and risk my life, right? Someone like me would show you a way to take that $2,000 to make it
Mhm.
actually work for you in a multitude of financial vehicles, which unfortunately our community don't get taught about the ways it works, right?
Yep.
It's like having that hood mechanic who, you know, oh, it's a catalytic converter, and that's what it always is with the cigarette
Mhm.
hanging out his
Mhm.
mouth. And you always need just the extra couple $100 to fix that catalytic converter, but the truck is still sitting there. As opposed to
Right.
when you take it to the Pontiac dealership, as opposed to the Mercedes-Benz dealership, and when you take it to the dealership, they're charging $900 for gaskets, but then they actually change your transmission as well because they're
Right.
skilled in that, but they ain't telling you how they do it. Now, when you have that brother who's an A+ certified technician and works on Hondas or whatever, he's like, oh, let me tell you how it's actually done from the inside, so you don't pay
Mhm.
$900 for gaskets on a
Mhm.
Pontiac.
Right.
I take that personally because that actually happens. Um,
I get it.
so as men, like you said, it is a lack of skills. You're looking at things like tech, right? I can't recall who, but this was years ago. He had an interview and he was explaining that black men are pining for jobs like NBA players and NFL players. So let me just give you guys a little bit. I used to work at a company called the Deep Paola Financial Group from 2012 till about 2014. And this was
Mhm.
an Italian group where we went and did financial planning. And what we did was we actually went to I used to go to the NBA draft. Right now,
Mhm.
I never landed a baller. It sounds like what men are mad at women. I ain't landed a baller yet, but no, I
I get what
unfortunately
you're saying.
didn't land a baller. I haven't landed one of the guys who ended up in the league as my client, but I have ended up with some people who are athletes, end up going back overseas. And what ends up happening, and you've seen it from people like Carmelo Anthony, people who look like us go into the league when there's 300,000 of us looking to get maybe 37 jobs in the NBA, NFL, whatever per year. The career
Mhm.
lasts maybe 4 years on average. Most people aren't LeBron James or even Russell Westbrook with a 10+ year career in the NBA. The average salary of an NBA player is $400,000. They're just getting to the level of being what's called an accredited investor. So there's so
Yep.
many different areas and things that it's connected to that we don't even get to. But then we don't even sit down with those financial advisors because guess what? Most of the guys that went to the Barclays Center to go to that draft didn't look like. Well, they didn't look like me or any of the guys on the court. They looked like guys with old hair with a banker's part in their head so that they could, be in a stuffy suit. Well, the kids were listening to, I don't even know the music, but they were listening to Lil Baby. So they couldn't relate to this 60-year-old white guy like Tom Brady's dad, who's a financial advisor who has Tom Brady and Associates, which is why when
Mhm.
Tom Brady got drafted, he cried, I don't have to sell insurance. Meanwhile, like I said, that $1 million indictment, if you go to Google and put in Colombian cocaine cartel life insurance, you'll find New York Times, Moscow Times, Washington Post, and the federal government archives that shows in
Mhm.
2002, the Colombian cocaine cartel hid $80 million of drug money and life insurance policies. When I talk to brothers, we're talking about we want to do whatever we're going to do to protect our family. I'll die for mine. I'll die for mine. The ops got money on my head, right? I know somebody who's close friends with Mo3. He's another artist out of Dallas. Oh, Mo3
Mhm.
own his masters. Mo3's kids ain't got a red cent from none of that,
But you
right?
know what's crazy is that we speak about procreation in the sense of having
I'm sorry, I did go on the
the
rant.
finances to be able to take care of the family, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Like you got to have the money. But what about if the woman is sterile, if the man is sterile, are there other health conditions that are keeping
Mhm.
that? What about genetic disorders? You
Mhm.
know, there's so many other things why with the food, like we're eating food, we think people think they're vegan and nutritious, and the food that they're producing has no nutritional value. Like those are other things that we have to consider when it comes to family and community and procreating as well.
Mhm.
And mental stability, um, physical prowess, like all of these things make up like healthy children, healthy
Yeah.
citizens in the community. Like all of this matters. I know for me, being a product of a single mother, as Tam mentioned before, I had guilt of even asking for certain things because I was like, I don't want to cause a rift of who's going to try to do that or how they're going to pay for it, or being very aware of she work all the time. She takes care of other people's kids on the weekend. Who's going to do that? My dad, love him to death, but he's not dependable. So how am I going to get this done?
That's why I joined the band, because I knew the band would be an easy way for me to, one, interact with other people, and then two, I'll get to go to the football games because I like football, and then three, I also get in the game for free, and I get to play in the band, right? But here's the other problem with that is who gonna buy my instrument, right?
If the
So
school is not giving them to you
right,
anymore.
and I chose to play trumpet, right? And the only reason why I got a trumpet is because my mom's friend had her son stopped playing trumpet, and so they gave me his old trumpet, and I cleaned it and polished it up, and we got it fixed up, and then I just played trumpet, and I still got that trumpet to this day. But that was the only way that I was actually able to like do things right. I couldn't go like do something like join the chess club and travel with the chess team. I joined the chess club, and then it was time to go somewhere. They was like, you need to give this note to your mom and you need to pay this. And I was like, my mom was like, you can't go. I got no money for that. I was like, well, let me drop out the chess club because that ain't gonna be it, right? I was in there with the Asians, right? Learning different skills and trying to go on trips with them to Georgia Tech. That's what I was trying to do. I'm like, I'm trying to go to Georgia Tech because they go compete over at Georgia Tech. They go to Georgia State and compete, man. So yeah, you
I
know
went and
what?
got a job in high school, but actually I was working at my mom's job at 13. I was getting a check with my name on it because her job just happened to go from age, um, 3 months to third grade. And so I was able to go work with the babies in just nap time and stuff and able to get a check. But I worked. I worked. I had a very short basketball career in middle school, but I worked because I know working was going to give me the freedom that I need. Luckily, I lived in a big city where the bus was everywhere. You can catch a bus, you can catch a train, the subway. Luckily, I lived in one of those places. But and we have programs in high school where you're married, you go work a job and get a check. But other than that, I work and provided for myself. So it was like, so I can have the things that I could not ask for. And basically, I literally saved my money to have my own apartment, to have my own car, to have those things debt free. And I didn't know what that meant then, but it was just like, we talk about it all the time, Tam, is that you really didn't know what you wanted. You couldn't really articulate it, but you know what you didn't want.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to get tickets. I didn't want, my wages to be garnished. I didn't want to be a teen pregnancy. I didn't want certain things which stirred me in a different direction.
yeah,
And I had friends that we grew up together that were all those things, that had children young and, were getting into it. I'm just like, oh, that's a lot of responsibility.
yeah. I worked in high school. I worked at I actually worked at Wendy's from when I was 15 to I turned 21, and actually I was gonna go into management at Wendy's, and then they told me what all I needed to do, and I was like, now how much do you get paid to do all of this? And I was like, this don't seem like a good deal, so I went ahead and went back to school for engineering. But I did want to address something you did say, Alonzo. You said men do need to pick up the skills. I'm actually gonna go out on a limb and say women need to pick up skills as well too. I
I
also
agree.
I think in our community, in the black community, period, I think I say it before, I say it again on my show. The dog, the cat, the roaches in your house, everybody need to be working. Everybody need to work. Everybody, I don't care if you gotta do shorts. I don't care if you gotta do TikTok. I don't care if you. Everybody need to be producing some money at this point, because at this point we're just too far behind, and I don't think we can afford for people to stay at home and not work unless we're building businesses where that person can work in and understand the business in case something happened to you as a man or as a woman. And I don't think we're at that point right now where we can do that, right?
Can I
Because
touch on that?
Or if everybody had their role. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there's so many chiefs and nobody wants to be an Indian. Child care is expensive.
Mhm.
If somebody at home can take care of the kids until a certain age, until they can go to school, then it's easier. And I mean, when I did want kids, that I was like, any man that I'm with, he had to know, my ex-husband know, the first 5 years of their life, I want to be able to be there, because after that is over. Like they're 30. You look up and they're 30 years old. And then what is that? What is that? What does that look like? You
Can
know
I
what I'm
speak to
saying?
both of your
So,
points? I'm sorry, go ahead, finish first.
No, go ahead.
So to speak to Tam's point and your point, Dion, because both of those are exactly what's necessary, right? So again, it's very important that a woman get a skill as well. And I'll use my own marriage as an example of that. So what needs to happen is we need to be useful to each other, just like, everyone in the club, right? So what do I mean by that? Absolutely. Well, I work in finance and my wife works as, I'll say, an accountant for a place that nobody likes, a 3-letter place that nobody likes, right? And so with that, we're, for all intents and purposes, a power couple, right? Because we have both powerful positions. Now, yes, she does earn a salary, but I think the other issue is this, and this is something that she and I have had a conversation about, because she flat out, I earn $0 a year. She earns 6 figures per year. Well, I earn more than $0, but on paper, my salary is $0 a year, right? I did 115 2 years ago, so it's it's here or there. But on paper, my salary is $0 a year. Hers is over 6 figures, right? Now, I always tell people she may out earn me on paper, but she will never outwork me. And I think that's an issue with a lot of men, is that we're fearful to, because she and I have had this conversation, and she's like, when I look at the dating pool out there, if you and I didn't get together, I probably wouldn't be with a brother. Not even because I wouldn't want to, but my experience is that a lot of them are intimidated by me, because when they hear about my position and the type of salary I make. You didn't seem to have that issue. We were in New York City when she first started working. I was working at Macy's at Herald Square in the cellar selling knives and making $8 an hour. I ended off talking to Peter Koob, the regional buying manager of Macy's Northeast, and dictated to him what he was going to buy for the Northeast region of Macy's, right? So it's about putting in that work, right? Because I was just a low man on the totem pole, and now I'm telling corporate what to buy for the next 5 years, right? So in that, it's about the work that we're willing to put in, and we're willing to be a tandem, right? When I was doing real estate, again, my wife was able to help me because of her career in making sure that my taxes and stuff are right as a self-employed individual, right? So like you said, in getting those skills, we need to make sure that we can put skills together that complement each other. And Dion, that's what you were saying about everybody playing their role, right? Now, also we play our roles, right? You're a simp, you're whipped because I let her take the lead on stuff, right? But it makes sense.
You know what you're good at, and you know what she's not good at, right?
Yeah,
It's just that simple.
And it works for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't expect anybody that comes into a relationship with me to know every single thing. Right. I just don't. It's just some shit you're just not gonna know. Right. If you've never owned a house, then you don't know what goes into owning a house, right? Not from an owner's perspective. A renter's perspective is totally different than an owner's perspective,
Yes,
right? So you may not know about this upcoming, they coming out to do an inspection on X, Y, and Z, or you need to check the roofs, you need to do this, you need to do that. You just don't know until you start owning. You were like, oh, okay. So I don't expect someone to come in knowing that, but I do expect someone to come in and be willing to understand that they don't know that, and that they're willing to figure out how to either know or hire somebody, or just trust my judgment on it, right? It's one of the three. It's like you're gonna either hire somebody outside to do it, or we're gonna do this analysis together, and I'm gonna tell you my thoughts, and then we're gonna hire somebody outside to do it, or you gonna do it, or I do it myself, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I even went as far as like maybe we can put up our own fence. Like at this point, the way people be coming out, I should put up my own fence. I should go learn how to pour concrete into these holes, dig these holes up, and pour it and put down this concrete and put up these panels. My dad gonna self the way people be working now. And if you know anything like I do about Florida, people don't call you back and they don't show up for work. I don't care how much money you could be given $60,000. They not gonna call you back. It's just I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just where the labor market is right now. People like I work when I feel like, and if I don't feel like working, I ain't working. That's where we're at. But I do agree that everybody plays their role, and I also go revert back to understanding who you are as a person, so you can play that role, right? A lot of people don't want to take the time to sit back, and this man and woman, right, don't want to take the time to sit back to say, well, what role am I really good at? What am I really good at?
Mhm.
Right? Knowing your limitations. I don't think people actually take the time to do that, right? Tell me Florida they don't like to work. They don't like to work in Florida. I'm trying to tell you they don't like to work. Like they do not like to work in Florida.
But and I think people, they don't understand. In order to be a good leader, you got to know how to follow too. Like,
What does that mean, Dion? People
like
need to know how to follow.
when you are under someone and you are not the leader, it's a team mentality that you have to have, right? You have your own personal goals, right? But it's also a team mentality. And when you understand that and you understand all of the moving parts and the people below you, you're able to be a better leader because you've been there. Like when we go eat at a restaurant and and we talk about servers and all that other type of stuff. We're better patrons because we've been in service positions. We know the work that goes into it. Just because you are not the boss means you're a fledgling by any means. When you understand everybody's role and the parts to make it into what it takes, it makes you it gives you empathy. It gives you are a better, well-rounded person when it comes to thought and vision.
Mm,
For me,
I get you, and I like the comment that Helmet said. You got to be an active listener too. Nobody knows everything. Yeah.
no. And some people, and I mean, I literally had a conversation with a client the other day, and that was just like, man, I'm waving the white flag, like I give up. And this conversation 20 years ago would have been a totally different conversation because they knew it. They knew it all, and it's just like you can't possibly know it,
Right.
or you will already be doing it.
And I wanted to add something to you, something you said, Alonzo. You were talking about NFL and NBA. So I went
Mhm.
and looked up. There was a conversation that I had the other day about getting a pension in the NFL, right?
Mhm.
And it says NFL players must play 3 seasons before they can be eligible to receive a pension. That then he'll be considered vested, meaning he'll be eligible to receive benefits negotiated under the CBA. But what's considered a season? The NFL player must be on the team roster for at least 3 games, regular season or postseason. For each season the player plays, he earns credits. The more credits, the greater his pension amount. So the amount of NFL players make after retirement will vary. It says on average, and I want to blow this up so people can see. On average, retired NFL players earn about $43,000 annually from their pension. Most players decide to contribute to their 401k during their careers. the total amount of their 401k is based on how much the NFL player contributed from his salary. The question is the 401k a Roth 401k or just a regular 401k? That's another one. This and the NFL cap plan are investment accounts and should be coordinated with the rest of your investment accounts. The NFL annuity program can provide another source of income. The amount of income from an annuity depends on how much was contributed each credited season. It also depends on the age of the player. The player decided to receive annuity payments and how often he decided to receive those payments. A retired player can access this stream of income as early as 35. And then they got to talk about the Hall of Fame pension. And then there's what other NFL retirement benefits are there? And then they go into the different other NFL retirement play. But I didn't want to go too much deeper into that. But I just want to give an overall view, like what you're seeing from the NFL retirement plan. And this is as late as of November 11th of 2021, right? So then when we're talking about these retired NFL players, retired football players, and retire anybody, right? What's your investments? What have you invested in? Where's your money going? How is that wealth being built? Now I know you asked. I know you were talking about the $2,000 earlier. I know you're big on insurance policies and plans. I already have two of those. Actually, three. I have three. So me investing into Apple is just another play for me for Apple. But I calculated it the other day, and right now I put away, and I don't mind sharing this. I put away, on average, about anywhere from 15 to 20,000 a month on average, and that's between multiple things. That's just in those investment accounts, and then what I personally put away in other accounts, such as and I've been looking at this for myself. Do I want to go into and I missed the boat on it on the no on the I-bonds. I missed it on the I-bonds. I had been trying it. I know.
They
I
shut
had
that down last month.
yeah, I had been trying. I had
So
already signed up, D, and I just didn't pull the trigger. I had the money set aside for it.
one big thing I ask a lot of people when they're funneling money into these investments, number one, because generally, you're looking at being an accredited investor and non-accredited investor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at
Mm-hmm.
$20,000 a month, you're looking at levels of being an accredited investor. The minimum
Mm-hmm.
investment being $20,000, or $10,000 or $834 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then most people also don't look at their time horizon, right? So
Yep.
what is your time horizon? That's your exit strategy when you want to get out. The average time horizon on investment is 20 years, and the average rate of return or return on investment is only 10%. So,
Yep.
a lot of the numbers seem astronomical, but most people are going into the market not to accrete wealth. Accrete means when your balance sheet goes up, right? So it doesn't mean that you've realized the gain because you haven't accessed the money, but it means that, what you have in there has gone up and earned value. So
Right.
when your investment has accreted, yeah, that's great as well. But again, you want to look at your time horizon and then things like fees that you're paying. Like I saw somebody in there talking about TD Ameritrade. TD Ameritrade is no longer TD Ameritrade. It's owned by Charles Schwab.
Charles
You won't
Schwab.
know that until about November next year. But they were purchased in like October of 2019.
Yep.
Later on in the year, you'll start to see them change the numbers and everything. But you also want to look at things like the taxes that you're going to pay on it, right? If you're using a brokerage house, what kind of fees are they charging you, right? So generally, you don't see the fees come out, so that's why we feel good about it. But once those are, you make a transaction, there's fees for that, and then there's a money management fee. Generally, it's going to go on a tier list depending on your net worth. So there's nothing wrong with those investments. But, you may want to look at other forms of retirement accounts, right? I don't know if you're self-employed or not. You might want to look at an SEP, a solo 401k. There's a boatload of different types of things besides a Roth, right?
Oh yeah.
That you can do. That's why I'm a big fan of life insurance, right? If you look up a guy named Ed Slott, EDSLOTT, he talks about the power of zero and paying $0 in taxes. And that's some of the revenue code that insurance uses. So don't listen to me. Listen to a CPA who doesn't sell it and doesn't stand to get money from it, but still tells everybody the government is telling you not to buy it because they can't charge you money from it like the other accounts. You know.
I
And
mean, yeah, and on the other show, I didn't even get a chance to go into it about the tax increases for next year because of inflation. You're gonna be able to put in $2,000 more, so it's going up to 22.5. They're also trying to change the retirement age, right? They're trying to increase that to 75. I don't know how many people really want to work to 75, but we're living longer, and and so you may work to 75,
And there's some
right?
sexy grannies out here. I
Right.
mean, they not looking like they're not looking like Florida Evans. Like,
Right, right. You saw that lady, right? I sent you the one with the lady, right? The HBCU lady,
mm-mm.
Hampton, HBCU Hampton. That lady gotta be 50. Was she on the drill team? I don't know. I think she might have been on the drill team. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Because everybody was talking about her. And she was like, "Look, I'm just out here doing my thing." She marched in the whole nine. I mean, she was older. Here it is, right here. It's her. I don't know if people saw that.
Oh yeah, I did see this, but I didn't know her how old she was.
They doing their thing. I'm gonna venture to say the lady is over 45. She ready. Shit. This reminds me of Aunt Bill. I want to see you do this. She was ready, and she knew this was her moment, and she did not come to play. It was her moment, and she was ready. It was her moment, and she was ready. She did not come to play. But I'm just saying, like when you see, what I'm saying, when we have these conversations, we know that population is declining, and I mean, in that decline, we also know the black population is declining too, right? We already know that. So the question is, what are we actually gonna do? What kind of skills are we actually gonna be? So that's why I keep talking about these lifelong skills, and I hope you're understanding that I'm trying to push you to a targeted set of skills so that you can be in those skills are being, you can use them for the next 10, 15, 20 years. He's talking 50 years. I don't think you're going to be working the next 50 the 60 years, but I do hope you have your money at that point in time working for you so that you don't have to continue to do that, and you are also instilling in others around you that are younger than you, your children or whatever the case, grandkids, that hey babe, look, I know you want to go to school and you love music and you love playing the flute and you want to get your but can we just get you over here on the soundboard, since you, let's keep you in the music and let you understand how to do this on the soundboard. Oh, and by the way, let's get you working at the school at the radio station. Like, so you can still be in music, but you can make some money and you go do something else, right? I'm just saying, like, I just want people to understand that you don't have to stop what you like doing, which is why I brought the other article up, because the guy didn't stop chasing his dream. He just took his talents and used them to get still bring in money into the house, whether it was SAT prep, whether it was working at Macy's folding t-shirts, or whether it was like I gotta take my daughter to school. Excuse me. He did what he had to do so he could create the opportunities that he wanted to create for himself. And he had doubt, right? He had doubt, but I'm just saying, like, don't get caught up in in just one thing. Like, be able to. And people tell you to specialize. I'm gonna tell you to specialize in making money. That's what I'm gonna tell you, right? I'm gonna tell you to specialize in making money. Do you say I have some friends knocking on 60 years old, killing it? Yep.
I
Wow.
mean, even sometimes when we're out, we're like, you know, like, ooh, girl, what you doing with yourself? You're looking elderly, like young, looking elderly. Like,
She
Mm.
might be somebody's Sunday school teacher, but for that lady to move like that, like how she was doing, she does that frequently. That ain't
Mhm.
something she just like, oh, is it my day? Is it my day? And she just can't. That lady does that.
no, and yeah, I mean, they skate, they step, they are active. I mean, just killing the
So
game. Where you
was
just
that
like,
Zetas and AKAs? Because I saw the pink and green,
it
and
was.
then I saw the
It
blue
looked
and
like it
white.
was everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's been a lot
I
of
think it was.
homecoming this time of year.
I think it was there. I think they were probably on I don't know, the dance team or whatnot. So on the dance team, you could be anything, right?
Okay, because I
So
was like, wait, I see the what is it, the blue and white, and I was like,
the
that's
blue and white,
Zetas.
you see Zetas, you
And
see
then I
pink and
saw the
green.
pink and green, and I was like, I know that's AKA.
Right, right. But again, it's just good to see people out and moving and being vibrant and doing what they do. But I just want us to be vibrant and doing what we do financially as well too, right? I want us to be creating as well.
I think that goes back to what Dion was saying in terms of health conditions and physiology, which then relates to the lowering of birth rates, right? Because it makes things like procreating harder, or even
Mm-hmm.
keeping a child to term without losing it, right? That
Mm-hmm.
happens often, especially in the Black community. We hear of our women with stuff like PCOS, etc.
From
So
all age ranges.
yeah,
People keep acting like just because you're 25, you don't have complications at pregnancy. You do. You
yeah,
do.
yeah.
No.
So
And then
those
in the
things.
adversity
I'm sorry.
we face at the hospitals with doctors and our pain and us surviving birth.
Yeah, even that part, right? How
Like,
often are they
those
like,
are
you
the
should have a
conversations that we
cesarean
need to
section
have.
when you shouldn't, right? You
Right.
can natural birth. So things like, what is it, doulas who help you have
Mm-hmm.
like home births, things like that are
Mm-hmm.
very important, right?
Yep.
They actually work with you in getting pregnant, right? A lot of dudes might be like, oh wow, but no, realistically, they help you to get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
They teach you about your fertilization. So that's actually skills, and that is a great skill that's very lacking on our community, and that's something that could be very much utilized in our community. Like you said, these tech skills, they're very important because eventually, right? You go to Walmart now, and Walmart needs to start paying us because we
You
cashing
pay for
We're
ourselves out,
yourself.
bagging those own groceries.
but somebody got to be manning the camera. So there is somebody who's watching the camera and
Yep.
who has to go and maintain those machines, right?
Yep.
So
There, the
those
girl just
groups
got
need those
arrested for that.
skills. For what?
She
Stealing from Walmart?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
See?
Stealing for the self checkout. She got arrested.
Now,
Wow.
why would you think that was smart? Like, you're looking in the camera, it's clocking your whole situation. You're scanning it.
Yep.
Like, come on.
Yep. This is
It's a
five.
camera.
It's 5 days ago, right here.
And she
Right.
stole $1,000 worth of stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Female shopper is arrested for not scanning every item at Walmart self checkout and stealing $1,000 worth of goods. A Michigan woman is being charged after swapping barcodes for cheaper items. Security footage found
I'll be
she
right
has
back.
stolen more than $1,000 worth of products. Walmart has been using AI and loss prevention workers to crack down on theft. Here's another place where I keep talking about AI being used. Again, when we're talking about where the skills are at and where people are going, AI, edge computing devices, mainframes, um, even cloud at the edge, even the Confidential Computing Consortium being able to crunch numbers and so forth and so forth in a confidential way. We're talking about security and blockchain. Again, I am talking to you about things that are going on right now that are going to be going on for the next 10, 20 years, right? So again, if you're not listening to what I'm saying, at least read about it and share it with others and let them go and execute if that is the case. So I'm just putting that out there. So I want to get back to the Vista Equity guy, Robert Smith. And so let's keep going on this one. I see you in the back, Alonzo. I see you back there.
For a living. And these are the people who are actually providing and building these productivity tools that have to continue to enable and digitize not only companies, but entire economies and countries. In education and cybersecurity, those are the areas that we're actually seeing that increased demand. Now, all that said, I still think that you're going to see the downturn in some of the consumer, interest rates go up. People are buying fewer and fewer, phones and cars and those sort of consumable devices, probably making decisions between, do I fill my gas tank with fuel or do I buy another consumable device? But in the business segments, businesses have to continue to think about how I can do more with less. And software is one of the ways, enterprise software is one of the ways that they're going to continue to embrace it. So is there going to be a slowdown in certain segments? I will argue in Europe in particular, I think we're going to see a more advanced slowdown in many other economies. We're not seeing as much in the US as we sit here today.
Are your portfolio companies doing any kind of preemptive battening down the hatches, so to speak, any kind of cutting in spending or hiring freezes, et cetera? Yeah,
not at this point. I mean, there's a few that actually, who have a little more consumer, I call a little more consumer facing orientation, who have to think about, okay, are we overbuilding in our sales capacity or development capacity? But for the most part, the companies we buy are typically, have a massive ROI. I think we talked about this before. Our average company, the products they sell to their customers is a 640% return on investment. Right. So if you think about that, almost anything else a corporation can do doesn't come anywhere near that kind of ROI. If you're doing any sort of, Six Sigma or Kaizen or, energy efficiency dynamics in your company, they're orders of magnitude below or multiples below that 640%. So corporations are.
Did y'all notice that smile he had when he said we're returning 640%? Look, I'm getting paid. We balling.
Are continuing to advance in their spending. Now, in our companies, in cases we're thinking, they may not expand as much. Sure, you've got to think about, do you hire fewer people? But for the most part, the vast majority of our companies are still, meeting their annual operating plan, which includes, hiring. Our average company increases its organic employee growth by about 20% from the time in which we buy it to the time in which we go to a monetization. So that really hasn't changed at this point.
All right, before she asks her next question, I want to ask this question. If you did have to teach someone younger, let's say 10 years younger than you or 20 years younger than you or a child, what skills are you teaching them? Like, put in the chat, what skills are you teaching them? Or are you teaching them finances? Again, I'm finna be stupid. I'm finna be Tam. I've been looking at shows and I heard that some of you men have number twos and don't wipe afterwards and keep on going in life. So are we gonna be teaching cleaning skills, how to clean yourself?
Hygiene. Are we talking about hygiene?
You're
on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't
that
your face
is like your face is so worried.
This is real. I have been watching different panels across the spectrum, and men have been coming up saying like they don't wipe after a number two, and so they just get in the shower. And I'm just like, I have a lot of questions on that. But even still, the questions that I do have, I'm just saying, what skills?
They're not wiping. They're saying they go from the toilet to the shower.
To the shower.
Some. Them do.
I mean, if you go to the shower, I guess it's like having a bidet. But
But what if you don't go to the shower? What if you just getting out, going in the world? I'm getting ready to take over the world, Craig. Look at y'all. Y'all so look at y'all. Both of y'all doing this.
Because I be having questions in my mind. I'm just like, how can you walk in a day with your butt geeks, like with crusty yeets? Like, why are you doing that? Why? Like,
So when they walk in, they just.
What did I walk into here? Hold on, big lit. No.
like, this is a mess. I can't. Let's get back on track.
Next time I'm gonna go find that clip and I'm gonna put it up there for y'all so you think I'm lying. Like this is real.
So there's two skills that we need to learn, right? One is survival skills. So I think every man needs to learn how to shoot. And there's another concept created by the name of Attorney Awesome BPM. 2 skills that he thinks every Black man should have innately before we even go into the skills for earning money. But in terms of survival skills, every Black man needs to know how to fight and how to shoot a gun, and not just a handgun, but also a rifle, right? Because we need to know that we need to have protection for ours. And in the event that something goes left, we need to be able to pick up arms and go to war, right? We also need to know how to use combat weapons, hand-to-hand combat, and lethal force, like things like knives, pressure points, where to hit someone, how to stab someone and make it not heal, things like that.
Hey, look, Alonzo, you ain't gotta tell me. I tell Dion all the time. I was like, look, if you get into a fight and you fighting a man and we're out and about and you got a knife, I was like, knock off everything. If you gonna stab something, go and you in the back, go in the back in the hole and up, go rip it up.
Open it, yeah.
Open it up.
To open it up, right? So
she's definitely a doomsday prepper. She is like, even in what how Black women yell at the TV. She like, stab him again.
Stab him again.
Stab him again. You never do it one time. Stab him again.
Stab him again. Lights out. Lights out. If you better stab him again. Oh, I don't know why he ain't got no bullet hole in his head. Like, what we doing? Yeah. Right? They all be shooting in the movies. They be like, in the chest. I'm like, no. Heads off.
Headshot. Listen, I'm a gunshot survivor. I've been shot 5 times. So and I've been hit in the head actually. So I'm familiar. It grazed my head. Luckily, it didn't penetrate, but still.
Man, man, grazed your head? No. I'm glad you're still here.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that doomsday prepping, and I understand. That's why I understand the importance of protecting yourselves, right? Yep. A lot of men I know talk that stuff, but they ain't never been shot at, let alone penetrated, right? So, I come from a dynamic and different perspective. Right. So I think initially those are some of the skills we need to learn, right? How to do things like build, how to start a fire, just basic survival skills, right? How to hunt, how to gather certain herbs or leaves that will be healing for us, like aloe vera, or how to cauterize a wound if you cut up and you got to burn it, things like that. And then, we look into more modern day skills, things like tech, learning how to, especially with currencies like, not just Bitcoin, but CBDC, right? So that's digital currency without borders is basically what it is. And it's looking to be more of a global application. It may be on blockchain, it may not. Crypto and blockchain was more of an experiment here in the States. But learning things like that, hygiene, right?
Hygiene is all that. And to go back to your point, we just had a guy on from Composable, and they hire you and you come in as a 1099 worker, and so basically you're 1099. So now you got the freedom to do what you need to do with your money, right? Pay your taxes and still create, right? But not only that, they pay you in stable coins. So so it's a whole different way of basically you're coming in as a LLC. And if your company does great work, right, think about it this way. I could go bring somebody else in under my company, right? And then work for this company, as well. And so now I could get a cut of the pie as well, because you're working with the company, but you're coming in under my LLC in order to do that, right? So now we're talking about I'm getting paid multiple ways, right? I don't need all your money. I'm just gonna bring you in and let you do this work, right? So we gotta start thinking outside of the box, right? And start thinking about what are income producing assets and how we're gonna put those to work for us and our future. And if we're not gonna do if you're not gonna do anything of that nature, then don't be a menace to society. Right? Don't be a menace if you're not gonna do any of that. Just live and keep it pushing, right? Be the best McDonald's worker you could be the best Target worker you could be, and keep pushing, right? Don't be a menace. That's all I'm saying. All right. So let's get back to it. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, totally fine.
Okay. All right.
I need the input because I hijack panels when I come on. I get to talk about life insurance for 4 hours.
Nah, you good. Let's get back to it.
I want to turn to sort of your acquisition strategy. I mentioned No before. That's a leverage buyout.
Right.
So was the Citrix deal, which was earlier this year for $6.
All right, so I'm gonna start right there. I talked about acquisitions before. I told y'all, instead of creating companies, start buying companies, right? We talked about this. Start buying companies. Use your money to go buy a company. I showed you earlier about buying debt, right? Right? It's already stuff out here. This is, again, the greatest wealth transfer that's happening. And that is why the boomers are leaving these companies and that they've had and owned and so forth. And you got to be in position to buy them. So who's going to be in position to buy them? You got to be in position to buy them, right? And you don't have to buy them by yourself. Go in with someone and buy them, right? All right, let's get back to it.
$16.5 billion, big deal that you did with Elliott. The lenders behind the Citrix deal reportedly then when they turned around and sold the debt, they had to do so at a discount because we've seen some big changes in the funding environment. So how is the funding environment changed?
Sure.
And was it tough to get the No before deal financed as a result of those changes?
Sure. I mean, you've got two markets in essence that we think about. There is a syndicated debt market and we call it private debt market. And the syndicated debt market that Citrix was part of, I think there were 30 banks involved. So, the exposure of one of them was actually, modest, relatively speaking. But, it was a fully underwritten deal, fully priced from our perspective, and they go through distribution. Most of them ended up keeping it on their balance sheets because they know the work that we do and the value creation dynamics that will actually, bring those bonds back to par, and in essence they'll be get tidied up at the end of the day.
All right, I tried to school you earlier. He talked about bonds. He's talking about bonds again. I brought this up earlier on the different types of bonds about buying debt. Right, you see a pattern here. I hope you're following along with what I'm talking about. We'll go into bonds next week on the first show. But again, I want you to see a pattern here of what we're talking about. All right, let's get back to it.
If you think about the private market, that private market has emerged over the last, 6-7 years as being, quite robust. But it went from, 10 or so lenders to now about 30 or 40 in that space. And so you may have to go to a few more, but we still see the ability to get deals like No before done, Avalara done in these private markets, as opposed to relying on syndicated debt markets. So that's a dynamic that we're seeing in the marketplace.
And what about on the other side? You mentioned exits.
Great.
Are any of your investors getting a little antsy here? Because it's tough to have exits right now, right? We were talking before we came here on set about the so-called class of 2021, the companies that came public last year, by and large have not done so well. It's a tough environment.
Right, it is. And, part of what we do is we focus on a couple of things. We do them really well. A, valuation going in. So, we maintain a very strict price discipline in the way we invest. And just to give you some round numbers, we focus on what we call a growth adjusted revenue multiple. 2014, 2018 growth adjusted revenue multiple in the marketplace was about 0.43. When we went through this massive capital expansion in 2020, where, I call it every central government on the planet decided to really flood the market with liquidity to make sure that their economies didn't go into a recession during the beginning of the pandemic. Created, a lot of capital and a lot of ambition, right? A lot of funds put a lot of capital to work above what I call that normalized level. We were very disciplined and actually didn't have any that we did in above that level. We're still able to deploy massive amounts of capital, over $18 billion invested in that period of time. Now, all that said, we were still in a down economy that we're seeing today. We've just now completed, we announced yesterday, a company called Appian that we sold. In that sort of environment, if you build high quality companies, we have the ability at that point to actually sell these companies in these down markets. So in the last 12 months, everything from Mediaocean to Datto to iCIMS. I mean, these are businesses. I think we've done a great job in building the capacity of those companies to do really well. And of course, Appian is one we just.
Now watch this play. He bought Nobi for 4.6 billion. I bet you he hold them for like maybe 5 years, 3 to 5 years. He's probably gonna sell them for probably 30 or 40 billion. Watch. He's gonna hold them, build them up, get them producing, and then sell it. He's not gonna hold that debt that long. And the banks are already in on it. That's why she asked about who's in on the deal, right? So he's leveraging what he knows works best for him, what skill sets works best for him. And he's got a team around him. Trust and believe he's got a team. He ain't doing it all by himself. He's got a whole team around him. Let's get back to it.
Recently announced, and of course the sale of Ping, which we completed, which I think closes the next week and a half or so.
So you guys have still been busy. I'm curious what your advice to retail investors would be when it comes to tech stocks, right? You obviously see some good valuations still out there.
Right.
Do you think that retail investors should be looking at tech stocks right
Well, the way I like to say, not all tech stocks, of course, are created equal. Enterprise software, if you look at the earnings of a lot of the enterprise software companies, they actually are holding up pretty well. Now, their stocks continue to get hammered for a couple of, I'll call it, technical reasons, part of which is they get pulled down by the consumer and the internet stocks. And you have, people who are, institutional investors, crossover investors who are creating public books. And those public books, they had, consumer, internet, and enterprise. And if the consumer and internet books are down 50, 60%, and they've, levered that book up, they've got to meet those margin calls. Well, how do you do that? You sell into strength. So you're selling it into the enterprise businesses that have the float, have the capacity, et cetera. Our market is really interesting one because we're still, 70%. Or 97% private companies. But in these markets for us, as you've seen us, anytime we see downturns in the market, that's when we look at companies we really would like to buy and now have become what I'll call more affordable for the type of underwriting that we do where we can bring our value.
So on here, it says Vista has 94 billion in AUM under management, assets under management, focusing on technology and software. Started at Goldman Sachs Tech Investment Banking in 1994 prior to founding Vista Equity Partners in 2000. So understand the history there and what's going on when we're talking about this, right? What things look like, right? So let's get back to it. We're almost done.
Creation metrics to it.
Let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about Morehouse and talk about 2019 when you paid off the student debt of the graduating class from Morehouse. And then you ended up starting the Student Freedom Initiative, which helps to continue those sorts of efforts. But I'm curious to take a step back. Obviously, the Biden administration has done some student debt relief. Do you think we need a bigger overhaul of the student debt system in the U.S.?
I do. I think we need to rethink what it is that we want in our economy. We want productive students. We want them to be able to increase their quality and standard of life, again, relative to their parents. Everyone wants to see that level of improvement. And look, not all kids need to go to college in order to create a very productive standard of living. So I think we have to be thoughtful about that. I think the universities have to be, think about being responsible deliverers of high value education that can be used in work environments or entrepreneurial settings as part of what their relationship is with the customer, there being the student. The Student Freedom Initiative, which we set up, is basically a fund that in essence, these students, they borrow money from so they can hopefully offset what I call the acute pain of parent plus loans, which I saw was pretty acute to the students at Morehouse. But when they pay it back, they actually pay it back into the fund that gets relent to the next generation of students. We focus on STEM students or HBCUs and MSIs or minority serving institutions, because we have to activate more of our citizenry here in America to be part of this digital revolution. STEM students have probably the highest possibility of participating in this digital revolution. So we want to ensure that we educate as many as we can and provide them with, the opportunities to, and on the other side of that, of course, is, internships and full-time jobs to participate in our economy. Again, that scarcity of developers, that scarcity of, technical talent, we need to address that since we pretty much closed our borders at this point in time to immigration, which was one of the fueling dynamics in America to fuel our productivity. So we've got to turn to our internal resources, being our citizenry, to get them to enable them to participate.
So basically what he's saying is y'all need to be in tech. There's a shortage and y'all need to be in tech, right? The other thing that to take out from this last little part is is how he established a fund in order for people to borrow, and in particular the parents, because what people keep missing out on this is it's not only the student that's going to school that's collecting debt, it's also the parents that are collecting debt as well. So the parent is also probably upper age 35 and older that is collecting debt from their child in order to go to this child to go to school or children to go to school. And so now they're trying to provide for a future for that child or those children. And also at the same time, they're collecting debt that they should be already out of, right? So it's a conundrum. It's like, I got out of debt, but now you're going to college, so I'm going back into debt. So now I need to work myself back out of that debt for the next 20 years, because who knows how much it's going to take for you to go to college and finish college. If you go and finish, if you go and get a job that can help pay for the debt to offset this debt as well too, right? So, going to school for particular things and you don't know where the market is going and you're not watching and seeing what's happening in the market, is a detriment to yourself and potentially a detriment to you and your potential spouse and your family that you want to create. So you gotta do your due diligence as a person, and with your friends, right? Friends don't let friends, right? Friends don't let friends drink and drive. Friends don't let friends get into a large sum of debt, right? I think if you are communicating with people and you're talking and this is your friend, I think having to weigh the options from someone. I'm not saying that you got to listen to someone who hasn't done any research, but listen to someone that you all go off and do research together, and finding a mentor as well as a sponsor is on top of this is also going to help. Let's get back to it.
The economy much more effectively.
We're unfortunately running short on time. So I have one more question I want to ask you. And it sort of speaks to the last thing initially we were talking about. You're frequently referred to as the richest Black man in America, right? And does that feel like a heavy mantle to wear, right? And what do you want your legacy to be with that sort of big moniker?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think about it in the context of how I grew up. I grew up in a family where my mother and my father were very responsible citizens in the community. And that meant, providing fabric of opportunity. They were both school teachers, but they also were civically enabled. My father started, a North City Park Civic Association, was the chairman of the local YMCA. And, my mother and he worked on developing Head Start programs. And so they were very vested in the education in a segregated neighborhood of the kids and giving them opportunities to improve their quality of education, quality of nutrition, quality of care, that I think really made a big difference for me and my family. So I think about it through that lens, and, they had certain limited resources, very limited resources. I have a few more resources, so I'm delighted to, bring organizational capacity, capital, and wherewithal to, initiatives that I think are going to improve the standards of people on this planet and people in the communities that I come from.
Robert Smith, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. I hope y'all enjoyed that one. Did you enjoy that, D? I couldn't hear you, D.
I said that was good. I like listening to him speak. And I like the things that he does in the community. And then I already pulled him up for our meeting tomorrow because I have to do some digging.
Okay.
Well, tech may not be always.
This is the one we'll do. We can do this next week. right? But if y'all want to get a head start on this one, I have like 20 of them that I need to go through. This one is Walmart's chief technology officer talking about tech changing the shopping experience in crypto, right? It's very deep in this one. I have a lot of other links that go along with some of the things that he was talking about. But when you look at this one here, and you look at where Walmart again, people always talk about this is a conversation I was having earlier. They're talking about Walmart doesn't pay, and I go back to Walmart created the program where you can be a store manager. You start out at 65,000, work your way, stay in there for a year, and then you work your way up to being a store manager at 200,000. Right. So now we're talking about you're changing your trajectory. One, you're talking about leadership. Two, you're talking about managing people. Three, you're talking about a store, right? So now we're also getting into um tech and crypto and shopping experiences and what they see from, and you got to look at not Yahoo, you got to look at Walmart from a global perspective. You know, Walmart isn't just in the US, it's a global perspective that we're talking about here. So again, when we look at Vista Equity Partners, I hope you took away what I've always talked about: your skill sets. You see there's a shortage, we're on a decline of shortage, in not just in tech but the economy for people to produce. There's also a shortage of people, of skill wise, and also having children, and on top of that, acquisitions, and the bond market, right? So there was a lot of takeaways in there, from skill sets to where the future is. And he's talking the next 50 years. I'm just giving you 10, 20. He's talking next 50, right? I've also given you things that are going to be around the next 10 to 20, right? The less people we have, the more AI you're going to see. That the store checkout, creating the chips at Chipotle, and if you ain't been paying attention, the way we wash cars is different. If you haven't been paying attention to car washes, the way we wash cars is different. They're removing people from car washes, and you clean your own inside out. You dry your own tires off. You just need the car wash. We don't need people just standing by cleaning tires. Go do that yourself, self-service. Those car washes that are set up like that make anywhere from 2 million to 4 million a year. I bought up Mammoth Holdings, who's buying up car washes and expanding. I brought that up 2 weeks ago. Go look at how people how revolutionizing how they're revolutionizing car washes, right? So again, the industries are going to be there, but the skill sets are going to change. What you need is going to change, and you got to be able to adapt, right? You got to be able to adapt. What do you say? I haven't been at a car wash since I had Al Sharpton. Hey, you must either A, your car is extremely dirty, or you wash your own cars. Beautiful one. You said, do you think instead of money, he could have given them jobs or internships? No, I think he gave them a lifetime setup to do more than just jobs and internships.
What? What do you think the money that you would have? I remember when you specifically paid off your student loan and how much that chunk was. Like, that is such a leg up. And I put in the chat some links of some internships and stuff that he has, that Robert Smith has for people. But having that financial burden lifted off of you, and working that first couple of years to pay that debt down, to pay that debt off.
He set them up for them to go buy assets right now.
Period. If didn't give him the money.
Period.
He paid the loan.
What'd you say, Alonso?
I said, period.
He
Now,
said,
you can go get your internship. They should already been in internships.
Yeah.
Graduate.
"Don't give me no internship if you're gonna pay off my
And
student
then
debt."
I don't want no paying internship. I want give me the money to pay this stuff off. So when I make the money, I'm banking. I'm netting now.
Yeah, he gave them a net now. Right? It's a net now. Right? D, you got time for one more?
No.
I tried, y'all.
No, you Robert Smithed it for 2 hours.
I
No.
tried, y'all. Okay, well then you go and I do it.
No.
You can't leave me by myself.
No.
What not, D?
No. You need supervision.
No supervision.
Look, you see how high that went? That
I know. I'm like, I need supervision on a show. What I need supervision for?
you need supervision.
For what?
Synonymous with Walmart, but the retail giant is moving aggressively to change that with Suresh Kumar at the helm. As executive vice president and the company's
You ain't gonna
first
put it up?
global technology officer, Kumar's been tasked with transforming the Walmart experience by driving innovation from the inside. And he's got 25
Come
years
on,
of
D.
experience to pull
No.
from with prior stops at Google.
Hey, I'm telling you,
and-
it's good. It's a good one. You got. I mean, we can't wait the next week.
No, it took you 2 hours to get
I'm
through
not gonna
Robert
go through
Smith.
it. It's only 12 minutes.
Do
and
next
41
week. Y'all both tired.
No.
I'm
Leave
it's
him
12
wanting
minutes
more.
and 41 seconds.
No.
I ain't gonna do 2 hours.
No.
Thank you, ladies, for having me up. I gotta
Thank
take
you,
this phone
Alonzo,
call.
for coming
No
up.
problem.
I appreciate you. You have a good Saturday.
All right, Alonzo. I promise it ain't gonna take 2 hours. All right, let's leave it to the people. One, if y'all want to hear Kumar, Suresh Kumar. 2, if you don't. One if you do, 2 if you don't. Dunn said 1.
Don is not
Dunn
the authority.
Dunn got 1. We got more ones coming
Don is not the authority.
in. Natasha 1. Everybody, D, you outvoted, D. You already outvoted. You outvoted,
That's
D.
fine. I just want you to get through it and not sidetracked. That's
I'm
all.
not gonna get sidetracked.
Yet you do.
I don't. I just be bringing.
It would just took us 2 hours to get through one video.
Because I was bringing up stuff that coincide with the video. Calm down. All right, we got ones. Let's go. Bring her up.
Microsoft, and we're pleased to welcome in Suresh Kumar from Walmart headquarters today. Suresh, good to talk to you. You have been.
Good to talk to you, Akiko. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you've been in this position since 2019. So you're going on 4 years. You've built out a team of about 20,000 workers globally, tech specific. Earlier this year, you announced about 5,000 people you're adding to this team with hubs in places like Atlanta as well as Toronto. Where are you along in that journey? And what does that say about how Walmart sees tech driving its next chapter?
Yeah, I am leading a global team of wonderful technologists across the world, and we are building the next generation of retail, the experiences for our customers, and we are building the tools and technologies that are completely transforming our business. As you know, Walmart's purpose is really about saving money and helping people lead better lives. Technology is such a critical part of delivering on this promise, and that's what we are setting out to do, whether it is enabling the customer to be able to buy right in the middle of their social feed when they get inspired, or having their products delivered all the way into the refrigerator. We are building the technology that enables all of this to happen. And we are building tools and capabilities that are completely transforming our business. Retail is getting disrupted, and the role of technology really is to actually help Walmart be the retail leader in the disruption that's already starting to happen. And we can see that in customer experiences. We can see that in the way in which we use data to drive efficiencies.
I ain't gonna be long, but let's look at that, the sign in the back, Walmart Global Tech, right? Walmart Global Tech.
We can see that in the ways in which our associates are working in order to be able to serve our customers better. All of this is part of the transformation that is enabled by technology, and that's what me and the team are setting out to do.
And we'll get into more of the specifics in just a bit, but I want to pull back because you've talked a lot about the transformations that have happened in retail. And you've said, look, they happen about every 20 years. I think a lot of our viewers are familiar with the most recent one, which I would argue is the push to e-commerce driven by your competitor, Amazon. But you say we are in the middle of another cycle. What does that look like?
Yes. See, every industry goes through disruptive cycles. Typically, all of these things are actually driven by advances in technology. Like you mentioned, the last big disruption in retail was really the introduction of e-commerce that was enabled by the growth of internet. But since then, we have seen so many improvements in technology. We have got incredible computing power in the palm of our hands. We have mapped every single square inch of the planet. We have computers through deep learning that can recognize and understand natural language, and we have computers that can recognize objects. All of these things are coming together, and they are the fuel for the next round of disruption that we are already starting to see. We are starting to see that in the way in which customers are finding, discovering, and getting inspired for new products. We are seeing disruptions in terms of how people shop. We are seeing disruption in terms of how products get delivered to the customers. Walmart is in a unique position because the true disruptors are those who are going to really be able to look at the whole customer experience. It's not just about online. It's not just about the stores. It's about making sure that the customer experience is a delightful experience from the time that they get inspired.
Hold on, did y'all see how the actual scan took a scan of his face and his connection from eye to eye, right? And then based upon that, it gave him a recommendation of glasses that would work for him. Did y'all peep that? That's what happened in that video. It scanned his face, right? It looked at his eyes here from center to center, and then from here, and then it gave him a recommendation on the glasses that will work for him. All right. So what does that tell you right there off the rip? How you do optical, right? How when you go to get your eye exam, and how you buy glasses is going to change. You're going to be able to probably do that from an app from your phone. Scan your face, eye to eye, load that up to some client, some optical website. Then they're going to take that and say, these are the glasses we have in-house. We'll shape them to X, Y, and Z, and then we'll ship them to you. Yeah. Yep. If you got a clear, yep. If you're doing clear, yep.
All the way to when the product gets delivered. It's not just only about reducing friction, it's about creating a delightful experience. And that is actually going to continue to get disrupted. Walmart's, like I said, is the company that can take care of the whole customer experience. And the role of technology is to be able to enable that in a way that only Walmart will be able to deliver.
And so when we look at that and changing the shopping experience, number one, I mean, you've sort of taken a two-track approach. Number one, developing technology in-house, but also partnering with those like Adobe. Let's talk about the in-house part of it. how are you determining where to put your investments? How much of this is about driving efficiencies to improve the experience? How much of it is about the shopping experience itself?
Absolutely. So the way in which we look at our technology investments, largely there are three different things that we concentrate on. First, like you said, is really about the customer experience. We want to create absolutely delightful customer experiences, no matter how they shop and when they shop and where they shop. Great example is what we just rolled out, which is, be your own model. Shopping for an outfit, we want to make it as fun as possible. When you're shopping for an outfit, you don't want to rely on some model that we have chosen to see what the outfit actually looks like. So this is a technology that we have used advanced machine learning so that we know how the outfit will actually drape on your particular body. So you can be a lot more comfortable about buying that particular outfit. It reduces friction, it makes it more delightful, and it increases trust. So those are one area where we really are focused on how to make shopping not just friction-free, but really delightful. The second area is really about enabling our 2.3 million associates to help serve our customers better, more efficiently, so that they can focus on what they need to do best. Same types of advanced technology can be used for our associates as well. One good example is what we call as WizPick. This is where our associates can use AR to be able to be guided in the back room to figure out what products they need to pick and put it in from the back room, bring it from the back room, and restock it on our store. It makes it very, very efficient for them. They don't need to print out a list. The system guides them, so they can focus a lot more on being efficient in what they do. The third,
you saw that TV on the wall can be basically take a picture of your area, almost like, again, you were using AR here, and now you're able to place objects inside of your house.
Third area is really around transforming the business through automation by extracting insights out of the huge amount of scale and data that only Walmart has got, to not just automate, but to optimize every part of our decision making, whether it is about how we choose our assortments that are local, that are customized for the market that we serve, all the way to how we price, how we mark down, to how we optimize our supply chain in real time. All of these things are enabled by the scale, the data that we have, and our ability to reason over that using machine learning, using advanced models. That really allows us to be able to reduce the cost and really go back to our purpose of saving people money.
Before she goes, beautiful one, you were saying that the entry-level jobs are at Walmart are gone. Like the cashiers is gone. Like that's gonna sweep, right? I can see cashiers coming back for VIP though. I can sure see a subscription model. I can sure see like, oh, we want VIP access, and so you may have you may come into Walmart and you're a VIP and you pay for someone to help check you out, help go get your products while you get, divide your shopping list up between what you need in, say, the grocery section and what you need in your personal item section. We're going to let you get your personal items and we'll go get the groceries, right? You've already identified that stuff before you got to there, or you set up a catalog of things, a list of things that you want to purchase, right? Based upon the things that you've purchased before, right? And then we bring you in. When you come in, we recognize you when you come in, and there'll be a greeter right there for you that'll go ahead and grab those items on one side of the store and then grab the items, and you go grab the items on another side of the store. Therefore, personalizing the experience, and then that gives a VIP experience, and then that also gives you the experience for you to want to come back. And I don't have to spend 2 hours at Walmart. I spend 30 minutes, right? Just a different view.
And Suresh, you just pointed on a key word that I'm thinking about when you're talking about all these products you're rolling out, which is the collection of data. I mean, that itself is such a big commodity for so many companies. Number one, it tells you what shopper behavior is going to be like. It allows you to sell ads online against some of that. I mean, how are you thinking about the commercialization of that as you integrate technology more and more into the Walmart experience?
Yes. So the great thing about Walmart is that we serve our customers in a what we talk about is the whole customer experience, right? So whether it is online, whether it's inside the stores, we serve our customers the way they want, where they want, and how they want. And this basically means that we can get a lot more insights about what is the best way to be able to serve our customers. This comes from both the whole customer experience nature as well as obviously the scale at which we operate. What we are focused on is to take that data and turn it into insights that ultimately serve our customers better. Right? When we talk about commercialization, or when we talk about taking the data, ultimately we want to do two things. We want to be able to serve our customers in a much more personalized, much more in a much deeper way. And we want to create an ecosystem where not just Walmart, but all of our partners and all of our suppliers and all of the ecosystem partners also benefit from that. So that is what we are trying to build over here, so that it's an open system. It's not a walled garden. We want everybody to be able to participate and ultimately benefit the customer.
You are the global CTO. I can't let you go without asking you about crypto, because Walmart did make some headlines at the end of last year when you filed a number of key trademarks that appear to point to the company's intentions to sell as well as market virtual goods. You already got blockchain technology integrated into the system here. What's the role of crypto in Walmart's future?
It's a great question. I think that there are three major areas of disruption. Crypto falls in sort of the middle of it. I have talked before about the way in which customers are getting inspired and discovering products. That is changing. And part of that is going to happen in the metaverse. Part of that is going to happen on live streams inside your social media app. So whether it is physical goods or virtual goods, they play a part in terms of what the customer wants. Crypto will become an important part of how customers transact. We want to make sure that we make it as friction-free for customers to be able to transact and to be able to buy, and how they are able to derive value out of it, right? And that is where I think a lot of the disruption is going to start happening in terms of different payment methods, different payment options. The role of crypto is going to continue to play a very important role in that. And obviously, we want to be there where the customer
So I'm gonna start right there. I'm gonna keep going, but I just want to say this: we're gonna have to start looking at banking, right? Who's gonna be the bank? Who's gonna be the banking system, right? The blockchain behind that as well too. The transactions, the AI, the ARs. It's a total summary here of what we've seen so far. AI experience, AI, AR, data, and out of all of this is still security. All this is still, you still need security out of all of this. But not only that, you're also gonna start again the experience of how you shop, right? It's going to change. This is why I keep talking about the evolution of things are going to change, and it's changing right in front of you. You get experimented on every single time. You go to a store, they roll out something, and they say, okay, that wasn't good enough. They come back, they change up and switch up something, and they roll it out again until more people, right? Let's get a bigger target audience, right? And then and keep going. The next thing you know, you've got all stores rolled out, and you're self-checkout, and you're cleaning your own car, you're drying your own towels and everything. It's just gonna keep going, right? Yep, T-Mobile is in banking now. Like the way banks and banking, insurance, even you'll start to seeing new car not car loans, but car insurance companies. You're gonna start seeing it. I bet you Google on the car insurance. I bet.
Really needs us to be. The last part of it is how products get discovered, products get delivered. A lot of disruption going on over there, but when you specifically talk about crypto, it is going to be about discovery of products, whether it is physical or virtual inside either the metaverse or upfront, and then how people transact.
Okay, certainly a lot of good people going to be now looking for an announcement potentially from Walmart.
Yep, and how you shop, right? Where you shop at, right? That's gonna change. That was it, D. I'm done. I did it. Boom. I just wanted to get through it. You don't look excited in the back. Oh yeah, that Dubai Tech Hub has been big. It's been big. It's been big, right? Hey D. We can't hear you.
I didn't say anything.
I know. I just want you to say you didn't say anything. All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope you got some good ideas again about tech skills, about jobs, about locations, of where things are going, how we're moving. Like I said, I have a lot more of these that I've been watching and looking at. There's another big forum coming up. I have to go find it in my email. There's also an AI conference coming up, and an API conference coming up. I'll be posting those. But again, you gotta see where things are going. KubeCon was this week. I missed out on it, but I'll do a review of it and get some stuff. I need to do a review of HashiCorp conference well too, for the low code, no code, and stuff like that. So again, I hope y'all enjoy it. Keep watching where the economy is going. This is going to shape your skills. It's going to shape your finance and your wealth, and also it's going to shape your kids' lives as well too. All right. Until then, we'll catch y'all next week. See you later.
Thanks for stopping by.